Man City and Tottenham shared points in a very entertaining second half. Make sure to like and subscribe. And let's talk about the first half because it was a pretty boring first half. Tottenham would lose the ball so fast. In defense, they were so sloppy. They couldn't do three passes, consecutive passes. And on the other hand, you had Man City who, although they got the goal, and although Turkey was a bright spark, they were just doing side to side passes, pretty boring side to side passes, no through balls, no line breaking passes. Highland was getting no service. Semenyo was getting no service, no space, no connection with the players. It was a very, very boring first half. And just a couple things I want to talk about that first half. I think Rodri was playing very well. I think technically you will never see Rodri lose his technical ability. You'll never see him lose his eye for a pass. You'll never see him lose his little 1-2 goals, right? Because he technically he's on a different level to a lot of these Premier League players, right? But I'll talk about his performance in the second half. But Turkey this first half was on fire. He was on it. But when he had that knee injury, right? He had that connection with one of the Tottenham players where he hit his knee and he stayed down for a little bit, right? He got back up and he got back on the field. But after that, he wasn't really that bright spark that Man City needed, right? And you can't blame him, right? I think knee injury for someone like Turkey who moves a lot, who's very ambidextrous, who moves from one side of the field to the other, and he likes doing a lot of 1-2 movements. Then that knee collision was pretty bad for him, right? But also Spurs. I think the fans booing them helped them so much, right? Because once that first half hit and it ended, the boos in the stadium, you could hear them pretty loudly. They were on the players, they were on the manager. And then you see the second half, right? Second half starts. Spurs pressed so fast. Spurs were on it. They were so attack minded. They were right on it. And then you think, why can't they do this every game? Why can't they do this the whole game? They don't. Why do they have to get booed for them to come out with this intensity, with this mind for a goal, this idea that we have to tie or win or do anything to get a point out of this game, right? And the different Spurs came out. They came out on the front foot, and I think the main spark for them was Conor Gallagher, right? Because a lot of people like to hate on Conor Gallagher. I don't understand it. He works for the team. Every time there's a player that doesn't work for the team, they hate on him. Every time there's a player that works a lot for the team, they hate on him. So Conor Gallagher is one of those players who gives everything on the pitch. He doesn't stop running. His technical ability isn't the highest, right? His IQ isn't the highest, but he is a very intense player. He was a bright spark in this team. He was the bright spark in this team. He started up pressing. Everyone would follow his press, winning the balls. He would win so many balls back in midfield, and that's when I go back to Roger, right? Because Roger's technical ability is very good. He's very good on the ball. His eye for a pass is amazing, but his physicality just isn't there yet. And who knows if it will come back, right? Because he used to cover so much ground. He wasn't the quickest, but his IQ to get there first was very good. His physical ability to get there first, put his body on it. When he was very good at winning fouls too. He would put his body first. He would get there first. He would win a foul. He would cut the opposition's attack, and they would start with the ball right away. But his physical just self isn't there. He's slower. He gets the ball slower. He gets their second. He doesn't get their first no more. He's very that knee injury ruined him, right? But Conor Gallagher was amazing. And then you have Xavi Simons, who in that last third was very annoying because he takes so long to make decisions. He's very slow to make that through pass, to take the shot. But he was another bright spot because every time he got the ball, he wouldn't look back. He would try and take a player or two on, and he could go forward, switch the ball, or do those 1-2 touches, pass and move, open the ball wide, get right in the middle. Right, that is what Xavi Simons is very good at. He's very good in that left pocket. He's very good in that right pocket, more in the left than the right. But in those pockets between the fullback, between the midfielder, between the center back, that little triangle, that is where Xavi Simons is very good, and that's where he was today. He was on it, and then he was very, very intense in that second half. He was a creative outlet, but the guy who scored the goals, Dominic Solanke, that second goal, right? we rarely see those type of goals. The only one I can remember is Giroud, who I think Giroud was still better because of the speed of the ball and the connection that he gets on it. But that's Solanke goal. That is a striker's goal. That is a striker who is got his confidence off the first goal, right? Because he's been injured for so long. That is a striker that wants to go. First half, he was intense, right? But he was causing fouls. The ball was bouncing off of him. He wasn't really there. But that second half, he was intense. He was on it. He was winning his duels. He was fighting the center backs. Kusanov and Gahey had a very tough time with him in the second half, especially Gahey, because Kusanov kind of took care of him with his speed and he's young. He's very physical. He's very fast. He's on it. Gahey struggled with him a little bit more than Kusanov did. Solanke was on Gahey. He was pushing him. He was running in behind. He was making Gahey work so hard. And that second was just amazing. The first goal I thought was a foul. I thought it was a clear foul. I think they were on it, but when you look back at it, I think Tottenham would have tied this game either way because yes, you expected Tottenham to come in and come out intense in the second half. You expected Tottenham to come out very attack minded in that second half because they had nothing to lose. Their fans have been booing them for weeks now. They're 2-0 down against Man City, who was in second place fighting for the title. Tottenham had nothing to lose. But then you expect Man City to react. You expect Man City to adapt. You expect these players, right? Because Bernardo Silva, he's been City for a long time. He's a champion. Rodri, champion. Haaland, champion. Foden comes on in the last couple of minutes, but once again, the champion. A lot of these players, right, they're kind of new. They don't have that mentality that these players have, right? We have Donnarumma, but you expect Rodri to pick up the team. You expect Haaland to come and put the team on his back. You expect Bernardo Silva to calm the game down. Stop Tottenham's attack, stop their momentum, right? Slow the game down, slow it down, calm it down. But no, they were erratic. They didn't know what to do with the ball. And every time they were on the ball, once again, the side passes one side to another. They were very slow in possession. And yeah, you look at City, right? Because you see Pep and he's trying everything he can, right? Today he went with the whole different formation, whole different style. They were playing a 4-4-2 diamond with Highland and Semenyo on top. You would see them start kind of wide so they can make those runs in behind. But even from there, they know who's gonna find those passes because Turkey was got after that collision. He looked slow on it. He wasn't 100% right. But you see Haaland and Semenyo making those runs in behind, but who's gonna find him, right? Rodri was trying to, but by the time Rodri was in a area where he could look for them, Tottenham were on it in defense. Then you have Bernardo Silva. Does Bernardo Silva does those through passes? No. You look at someone like O'Reilly. He's not really gonna do those through passes or those balls in behind. You look at Mateus Nunes. He's very good crossing the ball, but is he really gonna find those balls over the defense? No. And you look at this team, right? They spent so much money. They look solid. They look more solid in defense since Gahey came in. But even though they conceded 2 goals, in attack they look more dangerous. But then you see Doku on the bench. You see Foden on the bench. You see Savio on the bench. And then you look at Savio. Could he really change the game? Could Savinho really change the game? I don't even think they call him Savinho no more. They call him Savio by his name, right? You look at Doku. He could really change the game. But in this new 4-4-2 system, where does he fit, right? Because he's not going to be one of the two strikers. He's not going to be a 10. Where does he fit? Foden is one of the 10, but Foden hasn't been on it at all. I like this system, right? Because they look pretty good when it comes. Because I like that they're giving Haaland space. I like that they're giving Semenyo space. And sometimes it would be it would turn into a 3, right? It would be Haaland centrally, Semenyo on the left, Cherky on the right. And sometimes they go back between Cherky behind both of them, right? But then you look and they just keep dropping points. They just keep dropping points. Arsenal could keep gaining points. Now they're 6 points off of Arsenal. And then they face Liverpool next. They face Liverpool next. And I said it once, and I'll say it again, right? Because after Arsenal dropped points to United and City beat Wolves, a lot of people started once again, right? It's a whole rotation. It's a whole rotation. Arsenal dropped points 1 week, City gained points another week. Then Arsenal win and City lose. Then once again, City lose, Arsenal tie. Then once again, it's just a whole rotation, right? And people overreact all the time. Arsenal drop points, City win, people overreact. Arsenal drop points. City drop points. People are mad. Arsenal win. City drop points. People overreact. People overreact over everything, right? But that's why when Arsenal drop points to United, I said I still expect them to win the league because I don't expect City to go on a 10-game run. I don't expect City to go on an 8-game run. I don't expect them to even go on a 5-game run. I think they will keep dropping points. And that's why I said it. When Arsenal lost, drop points to United, I still expect Arsenal to win it because City just keep dropping points. And this is a City team who is not at the level to be Prem champions, and Arsenal are going to run with it. I actually think Arsenal are going to run with it. And their football isn't the best, right? I think their top goal scorer is own goals, or maybe Joker is now after the weekend. But before the weekend, I think their top goal scorer was own goals, right? But how do you get own goals? By attacking, by being on the other person, on the opposition's attack, on being in their box. That's how you get own goals. It's not like the players grab the opposition players, get the ball and kick the ball to the net. No, Arsenal create chances, and the opposition teams are so compact in that box that the ball bounces off and they get a goal. Right, it's an own goal because they're attacking. City just likes to do side passes. They just love to do the side passes in this boring team, and they don't find Haaland. They just don't find Haaland. Haaland gets no service. He gets one or two chances per game, and maybe he should be more clinical, right? Maybe he should put those in the net. But they give him no through balls. They can't find him. There's crosses. They find him here and there. But man, this City team, and people are hating on Haaland, right? Because he's not scoring, right? He's getting two chances per game, and they're important for City, right? But they're just giving him no service. Who's giving him service? O'Reilly's not going to give him the crazy service. Rodri is still not physically there. I think when Nico Gonzalez came on, they looked better. I think Nico Gonzalez has that physical aspect now. He's a young, he covers ground. He's very good on the ball as well. Bernardo Silva, he's not going to give you those through passes ever. Semenyo, he's gonna play next to Haaland, right? The only player who could find Haaland is Cherky, and then but Cherky had an early collision with the Tottenham player. So you know, City, they're gonna keep dropping points, and I actually think that Arsenal are gonna run with it. You know, Arsenal, not the biggest fan of their style, but they attack. They're ruthless in defense. They're ruthless in attack. They'll get a goal one way or another. And yeah, City draw points. Tottenham gain a point. And look, Tottenham on the other side, they just win against City. They just tie against City. My fault. But I think they'll keep losing. I genuinely think they'll keep losing. We saw this momentum shift in the first half of the season when they beat City the first time, right? When they actually beat them, they beat them 1-0 that game, and then they just went on a losing run. They tied to City, and will they go on a losing run again? Maybe not as bad as the first time, but I think they'll keep dropping points. I think they'll finish between 10th and no, they'll finish between 9th and 12th. I'll keep it there. I won't go too low. I won't go too high. I'll keep it right between 9th and 12th. I think Tottenham will finish. Maybe if they get some of their injured players back, maybe I'll say a 7 or an 8. Or not, they won't get a 6, right? Between a 7 and an 8, if they get their players back, the Kulusevskis, the James Madison, even though I'm not the biggest fan of James Madison, I think he's better than some of the players they have right now. But Kulusevski, I think, is important. Kudus, I think, is important. I think with these players, they could get back to the 8 or 9. But if not, I think they will stay between 9th and 12th. They will win some of the easy games. They will drop points a lot. And yeah, City Tottenham 2-2 in a boring first half, but very entertaining second half. Solanke with an amazing goal. And a big statement for City's mentality right now. A big statement to how inconsistent and how the levels have dropped in the City team. 2-2, entertaining second half. Peace.